everyone, welcome back to the channel. Or if you're new here, thanks for stopping by. Today I'm sharing a nostalgia story that's been quietly living in my heart for years. It starts with a simple jar of pitted olives and a playful habit I had as a kid, sliding them onto my fingers like rings and eating them off one by one. But this memory comes with some real-life layers. I was in foster care at the time. The exact house, the specific address, or even which placement it was has faded over the years. The details of where I was living at that moment aren't clear anymore. What stands out crystal clear, though, is the feeling of those olives on my fingers, the little game I created, and how it brought a spark of joy and control when life felt full of changes and new routines. This story crosses the ocean to a beloved British snack called Hula Hoops crisps, and it all clicked into place because of one late-night YouTube reaction video I stumbled across. The one from L3WG Reacts, where a British mum watches Americans reacting to an average British lunch. If you've ever turned food into a toy as a kid, or if you're chasing those warm, fuzzy childhood vibes, stick around. This one's going to be a deep dive, long, reflective, and full of sensory details. Grab a snack, rings, cones, or whatever feels right. Get comfortable, and let's wander through these memories together. Let me paint the picture as best I can. I was young, maybe 5, 6, or 7, moving through the foster care system. Homes changed, rules changed, faces at the table changed. The constants were few and far between, but in one of those kitchens there was always that big glass jar in the fridge or on the counter, pitted olives, usually the black ones. I hated the green olives with a passion even back then. They were too aggressive, super bitter, sharp, and tangy from being picked unripe. That brine hit like a sour punch, and the aftertaste lingered in a way that made me scrunch my whole face. No thanks. The black ones, though, they were milder, smoother, almost buttery, with a salty, earthy vibe that felt more inviting. Pitted meant no fuss with seeds, just ready to play little ovals. I'd climb onto a chair or stretch up on my toes to reach them. Juice would drip onto the counter or my shirt as I fished out a handful. Then the ritual began. One by one, I'd slide them onto my fingertips. Pinky first, then ring finger, middle, index, maybe even a thumb if I found a bigger olive. They fit just right, cool and slippery against my skin, turning my small hands into something magical. I'd hold them up to the light, twist my wrists, and pretend I was a pirate showing off stolen treasure rings, a fancy lady at a pretend tea party, or a little king ruling the kitchen table. For those few minutes, the uncertainty of new surroundings faded into the background. I was in charge of the story. Then came the fun part, eating them off my fingers. I'd nibble carefully at first, savoring the salt, then take a proper bite with that soft, satisfying pop. Juice would trickle down my wrist, leaving salty trails, and my hands would carry that briny smell for the rest of the afternoon. It was messy, sure, probably earned a sigh or two from the adults about cleanup, but it felt freeing. In the middle of all the adjustments that come with foster care, the new kitchens, the shifting routines, those olive rings gave me something simple and joyful that was entirely mine. I didn't need toys or permission, just the jar and my imagination. Even though the precise location from that time has softened in my memory after so many moves, the sensory details remain vivid. The cool weight of the olive, the way it warmed against my skin, the salty pop when I bit down. That contrast is interesting. Some parts of childhood blur with time and transitions, but the playful moments that brought comfort, they stay sharp, like they were etched in brighter colors. That same playful energy showed up later with another American classic that every kid from my era seemed to discover, bugles. Those cone-shaped corn snacks were pure magic for the finger game. You dump out a pile, load up each fingertip, and suddenly you had claws, witch claws, dragon claws, monster hands ready to attack the cooch or your siblings. The crunch was loud and addictive, the corn flavor salty and straightforward. Some versions had nacho cheese or other twists, but the original ritual was the same. Stack them on, roar around pretending to be something fierce, then chomp them down before they broke or fell off. Bugles were marketed with that fun in mind, finger hats or claw toys basically. Parents might roll their eyes at the crumbs, but they mostly let it slide because it kept us entertained and eating something. For me, it felt like a natural extension of the olive game. Different shape, same spirit. Take ordinary food, make it wearable, make it part of your pretend world, then enjoy the crunchy payoff. Whether it was after school, in front of cartoons, or passed around in the backseat on a road trip, those moments created little pockets of pure kid joy amid whatever else was happening. Years later, as an adult, I started reflecting on how universal this impulse is. Kids everywhere, no matter the background or the changes in their home life, find ways to play with their food when the shape invites it. Rings, cones, hoops. If it fits on a finger, someone's turned it into a game. It's innocent creativity at its best, a way to claim a bit of fun in everyday things. And that brings me to the moment this whole story took on a new layer. A while back, I was scrolling YouTube late at night, the algorithm throwing suggestions my way, when I clicked on a video from the L3WG Reacts channel. The title was something like "British Mum Reacts to Americans Shocked by Average British Lunch." In the original clip, Americans are trying a classic British Tesco-style meal deal, sandwich, crisps, drink, and they're reacting with confusion and surprise, calling things out as different or unexpected. It's all light-hearted cultural difference stuff. Then they pull out a bag of Hula Hoops. I think it was the barbecue flavor, and one of the Americans makes a comment about the taste. The British mum lights up right away. She defends them with this warm, nostalgic smile. Hula Hoops are so good. She talks about how common they are in UK homes, the different flavors like salt and vinegar, cheese and onion, smoky bacon. And then she says the line that stopped me cold and sent me down a rabbit hole of research and smiles. Put them on your fingers like that, bite them off the fingers. Sometimes you'll bite too hard and bite the finger. I paused the video and rewound. Did she just describe the exact same silly ritual I did with olives and later with bugles, but with potato hoops? Yes. Hula Hoops crisps, launched in 1973 by KP Snacks in the UK, are those short, hollow, cylinder-shaped potato and corn snacks. Not flat crisps, not puffed. They're true little rings with a crunchy outside and airy inside. The name nods to the hula hoop toy craze, but the snack became its own icon. And the finger game, it's legendary over there. Kids, and plenty of adults reminiscing, have been stacking hula hoops on every finger for decades, parading around, pretending, then crunching them off. There are stories of big hoops, or XL versions released later specifically because grown-ups whose fingers had outgrown the regular size missed the fun and wanted to relive it. Flavors like original salted, barbecue beef, salt and vinegar, and cheese and onion added their own twists, some sharp, some smoky, all perfect for that playful bite. Hearing the mum describe it so casually, with that affectionate, knowing tone, felt like discovering a long-lost cousin who grew up doing the parallel version of my game. Here I was, an American kid in foster care turning black olives into finger rings because they were the right size and shape in whatever kitchen I found myself in at the time. Across the Atlantic, British kids were doing the same with hula hoops in their homes, same giggles, same careful or not so careful bites, same messy fun. The contrast in the video made it even sweeter. The Americans were expecting big, loaded sandwiches piled with fillings. The Brits were content with simpler fare and a bag of crisps on the side. Different tastes, different expectations, but when the finger ritual came up, it bridged everything. That mum's face lit up the same way I imagine mine does now when I talk about it. It wasn't about gourmet food. It was about comfort, familiarity, and those tiny rituals that make childhood feel playful, even when surroundings shift. Since that video, I've thought a lot about why these memories stick so strongly. The exact placement from my foster care days may have softened with time and all the transitions, but the olive game was small, repeatable, and entirely under my control. I chose which fingers got the rings. I decided when to eat them. I created the story, pirate, royalty, whatever fit the mood that day. The black olives were forgiving, the green ones I avoided because they were too much, too confrontational for my young palate. That preference has stayed with me. Give me the milder, smoother ones or none at all. Bugles later amplified that same joy with their cone shape and loud crunch. And now, thanks to Hula Hoops, I see the thread connecting American and British kid culture. Different snacks, same instinct. If it's hoop or cone-shaped and fits, make it a toy first, food second. I've since looked up more about Hula Hoops. Launched in the early 1970s, they captured that era's snack innovation, simple ingredients turned clever by shape. The finger tradition is everywhere in UK nostalgia groups, comments about getting crumbs everywhere, biting a knuckle by accident, or parents yelling, "not on the carpet," but smiling anyway. Big Hoops versions in later years let adults join back in. It's the same energy we had with bugles here, turning snack time into playtime. That reaction video became a quiet, meaningful moment for me. It reminded me that even when some details of childhood blur after years of moves and changes, the playful parts that brought lightness can remain vivid. Those black olive rings weren't just food, they were a tiny pocket of joy I could create for myself. It makes me wonder about sharing it forward. The world can feel divided by distance, accents, and lunch habits, but silly rituals like this remind us how much we share. American olives or bugles, British hula hoops, kids turning food into rings and claws, creating stories, making messes, and finding fun amid whatever else is going on. In my case, those black olive rings gave me a moment of lightness during a time when exact locations have since faded from memory. That alone makes them special. So if you're watching and you have your own finger snack story, whether with olives, bugles, hula hoops, or something else entirely, drop it in the comments. Did you bite your finger too? Favorite flavor? Did it happen during a steady time or one with lots of changes? Sharing these keeps the inner kid alive. Thanks for sitting with me through this long walk down memory lane. If it resonated, give it a like, subscribe for more nostalgia dives, and let's keep the conversation going. Who knows? Until next time, slide something fun onto a finger, take a bite carefully, and remember, even when some details soften with time, the small joys can leave the clearest, warmest marks. Keep that playful spirit going, one crunchy, salty ring at a time.
That's all, Zipsters! Like and subscribe.